Hello and welcome to the Reflection series, where we share stories to recharge and rejuvenate. And today we have with us Sister Maureen Cannon. Maureen has been studying and teaching Raj Yoga meditation with the Brahma Kumaris for the past 39 years, of which she says that the initial 28 years was spent balancing working full time and the center activities, and then eventually coordinating the Brahma Kumaris centers. Currently, Maureen is the center coordinator of the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center at Perth, Western Australia, and has been so for the past 7 years. The story today is titled Learning About Caring and Sharing. This is about Maureen's discovery about how complex the vice of attachment is. She had never heard of it. She had never heard of this until she joined the Brahma Kumaris. Being lucky to have an adventurous nature, Maureen was able to go and live in various centers across Australia whenever there was a need. And because of moving around so much, Maureen developed the courage to try many new things, which increased her talents and life skills. Sounds very interesting. And how the journey changed the perception. So a hearty welcome and looking forward to hearing your story, Maureen. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Lata. And it's very nice to be here. And I want to start with just sharing a bit of my background before I joined the Brahma Kumaris. And I was actually born in New Zealand and lived in Christchurch. And my family consisted of my parents, and I had 3 brothers, and I was the only girl. So I always had my own things, and I had my own room, my own clothes. I never had to share anything with anyone because my brothers were all sharing with each other. So like my oldest brother's things handed down to my next brother and then to my next brother. But I always had my own things. And I think as a child, when you grow up like that, you think it's normal. And so as we grew up and became teenagers, sure, there was the swapping of clothes with friends and things, but it never really bothered me because we had good friends and it just seemed to happen naturally. But what happened when I came to start meditation was I started to live with other people. And when I started to move into all the different centres, then I was living with other sisters. And when you live in a centre, you actually have to share everything. So you share the space, you share the kitchen, the bathroom. Sometimes we were even sharing the bedroom. And so there was a lot of swapping going on, or well, I wouldn't say it was actually swapping, but people just naturally assumed they could use this or they could use that. And I used to feel this thing inside about, why are they touching my things? No, and it wasn't natural for me to just let people do things because I actually hadn't grown up like that. And then, of course, when we do the course and we learn about all these 5 vices, and a few of them are quite easy to understand. So lust or desire and anger and ego. But this vice of attachment, that was really interesting. I'd never heard it before. And I was thinking, what do they mean by attachment? And attachment can be quite interesting because as soon as you put the word my in front of something, and mine, and then you feel like you don't want to let it go, then there's that beginning of attachment. And once when I was living in Fitzroy, and there was a whole lot of us up in our meditation room in Fitzroy, and there was one lady who came in, and what we used to do was we used to have a pile of shawls to give to souls, and if they got cold during meditation, they could go and take a shawl. Well, at that time, there was quite a few people in the room, and all the shawls were being used. And we were just sitting in a little group, and one lady said that she was cold and could she have a shawl? And I was really surprised at the thought that came into my mind, because my shawl was sitting on the chair, and I thought, well, she's not having mine. And there was a little Indian girl sitting beside me, and she said, "Here, have mine." And she took her shawl off and gave it to her. And, it was like a mirror in front of me. It was like, I just had this kind of realization. Maureen, did you hear your thought? How selfish for you. And she just took the shawl off her back and gave it to her. And I thought, now I understand what attachment's about. It's about trying to hang on to things and not wanting to share them. And from then on, I really took note of first of all, my thinking when people ask for things, and then just learning when I could just to give. And so I started this practice of when I would be out and I would want something, and I think, oh yeah, I could do that. I would always buy one more. And that one more I always kept in case I needed to give it to someone, because I thought if I wanted it, then maybe someone else might want it sometime. And then it started to change a lot into if I was out and I knew something was coming up, somebody's birthday or something like that, then I would think, oh, that would make a good gift for someone. And then I would buy maybe 5 or 6 of them so that I would have a store to give to someone. And gradually I found my nature changing a little bit, so that if anyone came and they wanted something, actually I have a cupboard and it's full of things, and the people ask for things, I can go to the cupboard and say, have that. And once, and if I find something on special, like, the travel packs with shampoo and everything in it, then if I buy one for myself, then I'll buy 5 more, because we're always having guests and people are traveling. And it's always a nice gift to give to someone as they travel on. And so more and more I was seeing, that I could share and give a lot more. And, this vice of attachment is okay for things, and then I started to think about how deep is it and what goes on. And it became more about when I was with people. And I found that sometimes I would want to be with this person more than I would want to be with this person. And I think, no, can't do that, Maureen, because this is how attachment starts, and you prefer this person to this person. So in my own mind, I started to become just a little bit more neutral in who was around me, and started to just enjoy whoever company was there at the time. And gradually I found, I see, I can enjoy anyone. And actually what happened is I formed better relationships because I wasn't trying to hang on to something. And one of my favorite sayings is that people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And if I go back to that original story, that little sister that took off her shawl and gave it to the other one, she only came to the centre and stayed for a week, and then she went on to tour Australia. But I felt like she came into my life for a reason, just to show me something quite special, actually. And what I can see now is when I'm out and about and I'm with people, that I just enjoy everything. And another thing that is very helpful is that if I have to go somewhere, and this has been very helpful when I'm moving, is to be able to just go and leave everything behind. And so because I used to hang on to everything, and in different cities that I've left beds behind, I've left blankets behind, anything that I didn't need and couldn't fit, just leave it behind. Whereas I know when I was young, I would have packed it all up and it was mine and I would have taken it all with me. So to be able to just let go and not hang on to things that are not necessary at the time. So it's deep, that vice of attachment, I'm starting to really deeply understand. But it hasn't gone, don't forget. It's a kind of a work in progress, because one of the things we're taught in meditation is eventually at some time we might have to leave this body. And someone once said to us in one of our classes, the biggest attachment is our body. And this is why people find it very hard, if they have maybe a terminal illness or something, to go, because they have this little bit of fear of what's going to happen afterwards. But one of the trainings that we get is to be able to let go. And probably all of you may have heard it sometime, that saying, let go and let God. And quite a few conversations I've had in the last 6 months or so have been around how now in this time of technology, the word God is often on the lips of people when something drastic is happening. And I was sharing that now they show all those videos on Facebook. And one of them was when September the 11th happened, and people were on that plane, and some of them were in that building, that Twin Towers building. And you can find out what you're attached to is where your thoughts go if something drastic happens. And a lot of those people, the first thing they did was either call their parents or their husbands or their children and say, this is happening, I have to go. And then while they're talking to their family, just before that event happened, you just hear them say, oh my God, and then there's silence. And I've seen that in a few videos. And one was when people were in a boat and they were out somewhere where all these icebergs were, and actually one iceberg broke off right in front of them. And of course, when the ice fell, water's really heavy when it's falling, and it's really double the weight when it's frozen. And so that iceberg falling into the water formed like a bit of a tidal wave. And people were filming the iceberg, and then you see on the camera the water coming towards them. And all people were saying was, oh my God, oh my God. And then there was silence because the wave got them. And it leaves a kind of an airy feeling, but it was also a bit of a nice feeling too, because that word God was the last word on their lips. But, there's this kind of that little bit of fear before that. And I think that fear is the kind of know what's going to happen. And that's where that advice of attachment comes in. I have to go. Right. So one of the trainings we have, and it might sound a bit morbid, is, how to let go easily and how to relax and go through it. So I feel it's quite valuable. But we won't focus too much on that, but it is one aspect of this vice of attachment, how to leave this easily and naturally, and have a natural thought to go towards God, because there is a saying, that our last thought will lead us to our destination. So it'll be nice if at our last thought, we'll have this vision of us going towards God and not remembering our father or our mother or our children or anything like that, because they are in our life. They've come in for a reason, and they come in for a season, and sometimes they come in for a lifetime, but it's only the lifetime of the body. And as you know, life can be taken away very quickly. So hanging on to things or attaching ourselves to things, isn't that great? And it's not just physical things either. It can be like if we have a position, and if we have a talent, and sometimes if we lose the ability to play the position or use that talent, then often people can get, very depressed or upset and feel unworthy because they can't do what they got all their self-respect from before. But we know from the people who can get up and go that it doesn't have to be like that. And I've heard many stories of people who, especially elite athletes, they have very rigorous training. And then if they have a bad accident or something, and I know a few who've been saying, oh, you're going to be a paraplegic or something. But because of their training and because of they always pushing barriers, they don't get attached to that outcome. They use their power of thinking to say, oh, no, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to do this. And they use all their physical and their, I guess, spiritual power, we would call it, to move ahead. And many are up and walking. And one person who actually was able to do that told me that there was 15 people in the room where she was in. She had a serious bike accident. She was a tennis player, I think she was. She was riding her push bike somewhere and got hit by a truck. And of course, broke a few bones and got a few pins in her arms and her legs. And they told her she would never walk again. And while she said the ward they were in the rehab ward where everyone was, she was looking up at the ceiling, and so were the other 14 in the room with her. And she thought, I'm not going to remain like this, no way. And what happened was, she said out of that room of those 15 people, 7 got up and walked again. So that's the power of not being attached to even somebody else's thought for you. But if you have like determination, it will lead to your success. So I think too, when I say caring and sharing, one person's example will help another person and will help another person. So if we really care and we share, especially what we learn, and most of these people who are able to overcome a lot of obstacles do go back and help others. And because they've had the experience, they know exactly what people are going through, and they help them a lot. And that's why I feel this spice of attachment, it's kind of like in all areas of our life, because it's like if we have a secret, why not share it? If we know that there's a way and a means, share it with everyone, give everyone an opportunity. Don't hang on and think, oh, only I can do this, and bring in another vice, which is the vice of ego, and say, oh, I'm so great. But let's share it and let people understand that it can be done. And I think the best example is they see it, and they see, when you're trying to lose weight or something, people have their before photo and their after photo, and it can be done. And so those people are able to share. And when they go into that business of helping people, they know exactly emotionally the ups and downs of what it means when you're going through a process like that, and can help so much. So I guess if we have this spice of attachment and we turn it around, then we can be so helpful to society and help people so much spiritually as well. So that's what I was thinking about when I was asked to come onto this program. So
Wonderful, wonderful. I was just amazed at how many layers of attachment we can have. It's not just the things, but so many, like the places, be it our thoughts, be it the surroundings we are in. Because as they say, that change is the only constant in life. And if we cannot accept that, then it's going to be difficult.
So true. Yeah, and moving from city to city even, some people stay in the same city all their lives and don't go anywhere. And I've talked to many people who've never been out of their city. Yeah, there's a little bit of fear usually based on that.
Yeah. And it's so wonderful that you said about like when you share is when you care. So it's so good that when you get that from someone, it automatically develops that feeling that I should also care and share for someone else. And in a way, that's a chain of kindness or sharing and caring that goes on and continues.
Yeah.
But would you say that sometimes, like when we care and share, it may be possible that someone could take disadvantage, saying, "Oh, this one's always generous, so let me ask," or that they'll anyways do it, kind of a thing. So, have you faced anything like that? And how did you handle it in that case?
Yeah, well,
Or
that's
do you just go about doing it with good wishes?
okay. I do know that I can't think of one particular situation, but I have heard in situations parents get faced with things. And I actually saw the story of this man the other day who he was stuck in addiction, and he went to his parents to try and get money off them because they weren't aware that he was so badly an addict, and they would give him money, and then he was just wasting it on drugs. And then when he was really homeless and down and out, and when he went to get money off them, they locked the door and they wouldn't give it to him. And he was saying that was the worst moment of his life, that his own parents didn't even want to know him. And then he shared on his story that he went and tripped himself into rehab, and 3 years later he went back to his parents after he'd been clean and thought he wasn't going to fall again. And his mother opened the door and gave him a hug. And he said that was the best moment of his life. So I feel, sometimes we might have to be tough if a situation like that would arise. But so far, I haven't really struck it. Maybe a couple of times it happened to me when we were driving people somewhere, and then they would ring me up out of the blue. Once it happened, and it was like midnight, and they had gone to some festival, and they asked me to come and pick them up, and I said no, because it wasn't really like anything. It wasn't like for service, and I'm running a centre, and I'm not there to be a taxi. So I told her, no, you go and get a taxi. But probably it was a bit tough then, but sometimes those situations will come.
That's wonderful. So keeping a balance depending on the situation.
Yeah. What they say they call it tough love. Sometimes parents have to be tough. Take attachment out of it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sister Maureen. That was wonderful. Okay. And as you have been a meditation teacher for so long, if I could request you to lead our viewers into a little meditation experience for a few minutes by a commentary. Okay. Thank you.
So just sit quietly and just make sure you're quite relaxed. And come back here to this focus point in the center of the forehead. And just become very quiet, very still. And reflective. Have I got things in my life I can't do without? And if I have, could I easily let them go? If I was asked to go somewhere, what would I miss the most? And why, in this age of technology, would it have to be missed? There's a saying in this world, if one door shut, another door will open. But that door can't open until the last one shuts. So I have to think very deeply about, am I hanging on to things unnecessarily? And can I just easily go, walk out and shut the door? The spiritual practice we have, and we practice it for a lifetime. Until eventually I let go. And I let God. And the word that's the trigger to know I haven't let go is the word my. And the other word is mine. But if I really care and I learn to share, the word changes to it's ours. Because wherever I am, I'm part of a world family. And there's a saying in this world, I came with nothing, and I won't take anything with me. So why not share it? Oh, chanting.
Thank you so much, Sister Maureen.
It's okay. I have to do this.
Yes, we've inspired to, check ourselves how the wise works. And as you have rightly mentioned, the word my and mine are one of the keywords that we can check against. So it was wonderful hearing your story, and thank you for sharing it with our viewers today. And for our online viewers who would like to know more, please do visit our website, www.brahmakumaris.org.au. You'll find all our events and programs put up on the website. So thank you once again for joining in today, and we'll see you again in another interesting episode of Reflections. Till then, keep caring, keep sharing. Om Shanti.